Okay, what was I? Remind myself. Okay. I thought to remind myself what was going on. So I feel like this is just like really loud. Why did it? What? Oh, that's why. I had turned those down, but they got turned back up. There we go. That's more manageable. It was fucking loud. Oh yeah, I need to. There we go. I have no idea what's going on with Fang, nor do I have any idea what I'm supposed to do to help. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what I should do with this for. set for shipment. Yep, might as well just do this then. Gives me more money. Which I need, because I'll need to get more stabilizers sooner rather than later. Okay, be full again. Yeah, I got some more scrap. That's, I guess, nice. There's something I could do with scrap somewhere, wasn't there? I'll put that there. Buy some rations, because that'll fill me up slightly cheaper. What's going on here? It's been more than a few cycles since your friend contracted Harden, and the silence since has been noticeable. In your time with Feng, you haven't exactly found him to be reliable, but you did expect to hear from him whenever plan he had put into action. But if he won't come to you, you think as we approach Heaven Edge building, then it's time for it to come to him. After all, he did promise to fix your tracker, and you were getting nervous. As you approach the bay doors, you see them wide open, the light pouring out the once dark room. Stacks of servers and terminals sit outside the bay, suddenly robbed of their mystery by the bright floodlight lamps. A figure in heaven-age security fatigue steps out of the bay as you get closer, carrying a stack of hardware. I'm gonna walk away. This already looks like trouble. You lower your head and shift your direction as smoothly as you're able.
You again.
Hardin is there, leaning beside the bay entrance so calmly but that you barely noticed him. He has a slate in his hand and inventory of seizures scrawled across it.
Predictable. Further evidence of Feng's illusions.
You see another security officer come out of the bay and take notice of you. Where is he?
Feigning ignorance, or perhaps just abandoned.
Hardin shakes his head.
I believe you should choose your conspirators more wisely. I almost feel sorry for you.
Hardin pushes away from the wall, comes closer.
Don't worry, Sleeper. We all have the evidence we need. A confession won't be necessary.
He gestures around the stacks of hardware, spying fellow Haven Edge members hoarding Solheim materials, an obsession with corporate data.
Spying on fellow Haven Edge members hoarding Solheim materials, an obsession with corporate data. It speaks for itself, does it not?
That was his job.
And what would you know about jobs, Sleeper?
He looks you up at the glass roof above and the stars beyond.
We are the ones that provide the oxygen you are breathing, the light you are seeing, the systems that you use every day to live your cycles. This place was hard fought for, Sleeper. It took work, diplomacy, and strength to keep the eye descending into stop the eye from descending into chaos after Solheim collapsed, not blind conviction or self-interest.
Feng isn't selfish.
I know all about the background of our mutual friend, Sleeper. Don't you worry about that. His parents would be sickened by the damage he is trying to do to the institution they helped found. You see, Sleeper, we are proud of our history here. Andre Erlinen and the First Union founded this place, and Havanage has wielded his values into the station's very walls. We will never turn away from the hard work, and just the true citizens of the... just the true citizens of the Eye. Havanage aren't a gang like Yadigan. We aren't pirates like half the spacers you'll meet in the hub, or esoterics like those Haifa radicals in the Greenway. We are the backbone of this place, proud and true. We have named Erlin's Eye Sleeper. We named Erlin's Eye Sleeper. This is our station, he meets your eye. So please take your false accusations elsewhere before I decided that I need a confession after all.
History will catch up with you.
I'm not afraid of history, Sleeper. We're all making it here, cycle by cycle. He smiles. If you have any pride, you'll give up on Feng the moment he contacts you. You know where to find me.
And with that, Hardin turns his back and walks back towards the security offices, ordering them to continue to clear out. As you do, something catches your eye among the server stacks. A crumpled hand-printed box of synthetic chewing gum, a penguin character grinning from the brightly colored card, and scrawled upon it its speech bubble reading, "Take me to Tambor." You'll carefully pick up the box, making sure no one is watching, and then turn away just as another stack of servers is wheeled out the bay. What have you done, Fang, and where the hell is Tambor? Well, that is a very good question. Where the hell is Tambor? Because I have no idea. I'm guessing this? Yeah. Input Fang's chewing gum. As you go to leave the Tambor tea house, a hand falls on your shoulder. Sleeper. Hey, Fang hisses from behind you. How did you find me? Penguin. Penguin, what are you? He thinks for a second. Oh, do you mean... He mimes throwing gum in his mouth. That wasn't meant for you specifically, but... Look, it doesn't matter. Come, let's sit. Fang guides you down a set of stairs to one of Tambor's lowest levels. The tea house is stacked with curved mezzanines, all connecting to a central atrium. The levels are filled with makeshift booths and bars, and conversation bounces busily off the metal walls. Fang sees you looking around. This place used to be a fuel tanker's main drum, hence the name. The tea house part is a bit of a misnomer, though. You can't get anything the Eye offers from this place, but real tea isn't exactly readily available. He picks the booth, itself fashioned from some old salvage tank of a container lined with spongy insulation foam, and collapses into it. He looks furtively. Blah, blah, blah. Don't suppose you've seen any of Heaven Age types. They don't usually come this far. Feng, what's going on? Well, I'm suspended, that's the first thing. And the second thing, I'm pretty sure Hardin wants to drop me off the rim of the eye. He grins. Doesn't bother me, though. Shows me I hit a nerve back there. He picks a scrappy, hand-scrawled note from the table and tosses it over. What are you drinking? Why are you so calm? You know any reason I shouldn't be? He leans in, suddenly concerned, but then waves the idea away. Hold that thought. Let's order first. Feng is right. The menu is ridiculous. There's at least 10 different infusions, most of which you can't make out, but the paper is dominated by an extensive complement of esoteric alcohols and cocktails. Black tea is listed without a price as a seasonal specialty. Black tea is a seasonal specialty? So you ran into Hardin? Was he pissed? Feng doesn't wait for an answer. That snake is so self-righteous he might actually believe that Erlen would approve of his meteoric bullshit. He taps on the table. If Heaven Edge was like it shouldn't be. If Heaven Edge was like it should be, then it wouldn't be like it was founded to be. They wouldn't have shouted him down at any council meeting he dared to mention true citizens, he says. I guess he kind of runs the place now. The young woman with a vine tattoo snaking up her arm turns up at the booth, a slate in hand. Your order? You skim the menu, your eyes glazing over. Real steak, sambar track, grill neat, sambar rack, kelp infusion. Let's just go with the grill neat. Feng taps the table to order the same. And you? She begins looking into Feng, but when she sees him she suddenly stops. What the? Feng shrinks a little. You're supposed to be working. This is your shift. You were supposed to be working? This is your shift? He grins sheepishly. You work here? Feng waves you to be quiet. Look, Jenna, let's just say this is my break. My friend here has been through a lot. Jenna looks between the two of you. Nod. Feng also starts nodding. 2 minutes, he says. 2 minutes, says Jenna, pointing to Feng. And only because I don't want to get dragged into whatever this is. She gestures at the table and walks off. What? Stretches out to the booth. You know how it is. We all have to meet. Plus, he leans in. This is the best place around here to find a person you might be looking for. Ooh. Remember that web of connections that Hardin pinged in the moment we confronted him? Those are his collaborators. And if we want to understand that a Solheim executive might be getting up to in the eye, those are the people who have to find. Feng is almost whispering now. There's a couple of them suspected here in the low end, and well, almost everyone in the low end comes from through this place at one time or another. He brings a modified slate out onto the table. I've set this up so that when someone with network signature I'm looking for comes into the close proximity, it'll mark them. Once they're marked, we can break through their access protocols and get to the good stuff inside. We just have to find them first. Hence me moonlighting as a waiter. Suddenly a smile crows across his face. Wait, I have an idea. What? Look, I can't cover enough of that low end on my own. So far, I've had no matches at this place. With two of us, we can cover more ground. What am I getting into? Well, Feng has a hang-dog look. We need to get you out and back in the low end, in close proximity as many people, the residents, as possible. And it turns out my friend Mingi needs some help with the deliveries. As in Mingi Express. So you already know him. Perfect! Feng places a tiny receiver on the table. This connects to my slate and runs the same marking protocol. If you get near any of our targets, so all you have to do is take some delivery shifts from old Mingi, and soon enough you'll have the place covered. Bang. Don't give me that. You know I'm like working here. You think I like working here? And I thought you could use the tips. He grins. We aren't together, right? Are we? Yes. You think Hardin is happy to have you wandering around the place? I might have to let you wander off for now, and then I'm sure he has the eye for you. And this is on you, too. Feng slips the slate back under his clothes. Just head on up to Mingi Express, take your delivery shift, and we'll see what shakes up. You manage to find anyone and extract their data, bring it right down here to me. On a double shift, so I shouldn't be hard to find. Jenna walks past carrying a tray of drinks and sharply catches Fang's eye. I don't think she's bringing your drink, he stands. I think it's time we call this meeting to a close. You grab the receiver from the table and slip it into your pocket. See you soon, Sleeper. Stay safe. Fang adds this before turning and walking off towards the bar, whistling as he does. Boy. Okay, I can get an upgrade. Hog. I forgot to go. I'll do that in a moment. I need to go. Is it this one? No, it's this one. As you turn away from the terminal and final cache of yet again data uploaded, the air crackles with white noise. Sleeper? Sabine's voice, weaker than before, comes through the haze. Sabine? Sigh of relief comes through the layers of noise. The call must be coming in from somewhere on the station. This has to be short. I don't know if yet again are monitoring me. Their voices hush, distant. You try to focus on it. The data you're bringing in from yet again nations, there's something in it I don't understand. A shrill howl rattles through the signal. This data is all gleaned from their implants, records of interrogations with their nervous systems, performance analysis, error rates, usage data. I installed many of these implants, and I don't enable any of these functionality. Their voice dips into a level of the noise like a swimmer slipping beneath the water. You listen to the waves for a few seconds before Sabine reemerges. Has to be someone baked into their wetwares interface. And that's not all. The systems compiling the data are connected to some kind of transmission protocol. It's being broadcast. Wait, why? Every yet again enforcer is equipped with the black market implants, retinal enhancements, adrenaline boosters, pain suppressors. These implants are gathering data on themselves, all on the enforcers' bodies, on their performance. Why? I can't tell. But I can promise you that these foot soldiers have no idea what's going on. The background tone switches, dropping to a grainy rumble. If they knew, I don't imagine they would be happy with the situation. Yet again could have a mutiny on their hands. You lean forward on the terminal, straining to listen to Sabine's faint voice. I need a few cycles to pull this all together, but this might be the information I need to pursue Yannick into releasing my debt. Yannick? He's the head of the Yadigan. They pause. It's better you don't know him. Keep it that way. Suddenly a banging echoes through the call. Sabine's voice is suddenly whispering panicked. I have to go. Come back in 4 cycles. The sharp crack of a disconnect and silence fills the apartment. You step back from the terminal, which does yet again have what does yet again have to gain from monitoring his own members? You try to recall what you know about the gang, and you have little to go on. You think of Toshiro Sabine's minder, his mirrored teardrop implants set below hard eyes. What data would they be gathering? And more importantly, where are they sending it? You reflexively rub your forehead, trying to think, can it really trust Sabine? How did it come to be yet again's doctor in the first place? You think of the kindness, their care, but also glazed look of recognition that he gave you when they first met you. This look stays in your mind as you slip back out of the apartment, glancing around as you close it up. The drift of the quotas and quotations, suddenly unable to shake the unpleasant sensation of being observed. Oh boy, I didn't want to come here. Okay. The compressor is quiet today. The usual crowds are elsewhere, and the pumping music washes over a handful of spaces and a few drunks. Ethan is still in the same stool in the same pool of light. His head is low, close to the bar, and the bartender is ignoring him. Approach him. As you get closer, he lifts his head and turns. Sleeper! He turns to look at you. Time to pay it up again, is it? He gestures to the bartender. Come here and take their chits. No more, Ethan. Ethan doesn't even look at you. He props his elbows on the bar and holds his head. Sleeper, it's been a long cycle. I don't care. Ethan lets out a long sigh. He rapidly rubs his eyes from his palms. You're alright. He says, this isn't fun anymore. He reaches for his halter. His elbow slips and the gun tumbles out. It clatters on the bar and to the floor, bouncing into the ground between you. Both of you and the bartender look at the gun, stare at it. Butterfingers, says Ethan as he puts a hand beckoning for you to give him the gun back, if you would. The bartender looks at you warily. You crouch down to pick up the gun. Point the gun at Ethan. Ethan turns his head in your direction a sharp, pale eye locking with yours. The bartender backs away. Oh. He turns on the stool. Oh, sleeper. This is more like it. Well, I'm gonna pull the trigger. You wait. You don't wait, you pull the trigger. The gun clicks, but now all the attention in the bar is on you and Ethan. He looks at his gun and with a bemused expression. The bartender raises an open hand and in it are 10 shiny bullets. They're 10 shiny bullets he took out of Ethan's gun while he was asleep on the bar. Ethan smiles at the bartender. Oh well, he says and grabs the gun, slamming it back into the face with a single move. You stagger back and drop to a knee. Somewhere near the nearby gun clatters onto its surface and hits a glancing blow that it makes your vision swim. Through the blur, you see Ethan wrestle in a small, thin slate with his belt and hold it up. Enough of this. I'm logging the job and calling it in. Ethan taps to the slate. No more playing. Your head aches. Ethan taps through a few screens impatiently. He swears and taps again. He starts shouting, a dull echo in your ringing ears. He starts screaming at the slate and throws it across the bar. He crouches down and grabs you by the chin, his face close and his breath heavy with drink. SNRP just screwed me, he grins menacingly. They canceled the contract. He stands up. They canceled the contract! He shouts at the ceiling on the compressor. You stand up, struggling to your feet, and the sting of him fading. Ethan is rubbing his temples, his face pale. You hear a clicking sound like coins being counted, like bullets being loaded into a magazine. When you shake off the last of the blur, the bartender has Ethan's pistol trained on Ethan's head. Ethan stumbles back towards the middle of the room, his eyes trained on you. I'll kill all of you, he screams. He stumbles into the wall, spinning away towards the door. I'll be back for that, he shouts at the bartender and lunges out of the compressor. You steady yourself on the bar and catch your breath. The rumble of conversation returns. The bartender goes to say something, but then thinks better of it and begins to clean the bar. After a while, you wander out into the light of the bright market, looking for Ethan around every corner. Oh, good. Oh, goody goody gumdrops. Okay. Well, since I didn't have to pay his bar tab, let me go here real quick and just buy this so I have one in hand. Do work here. Make some money. I don't want to use that one. That one is just like not great. 3 have an object. I still need 2 more before I can go with caster. This is not a good idea. Go with a 1. Wish this was a... I wish it was a 2. Yeah, I can't do anything. It's that edge. I can go to ship. No, I don't have enough. I need money. And I can buy. Yep. Now I can go here. Buy a ship mine fragment. And I can go to the ore exchange. Nope. To the fabricator. And then I can make a ship mine. I need 2 upgrade points for that. I will save it because I do want the reroll. That will help a lot. Then I go here. Yep, I already did all this stuff in the last run. There, now I have 2, which means I can do this. I made sure I stockpiled these. Where was the last one? There we go. As you lift left, something flips. You find yourself inverted, floating, dragged by one arm through a cloud. The threads shift, realign as you're leading you somewhere. Look at your hand. You look down, expecting to see a heavy cylinder of the ship mine in your hand, but its place is an orrery. A sphere so bright it burns your eyes by rings and orbits. Other spheres tracing silken lines through space. As you look closer still, you pick out thousands of sigils of thousands of stations and ships floating like smoke, like dust. You look up and see a corridor, a canyon, a street in the low end. On either side, buildings flicker with markings of activity, sigils showing network access, data transfer, download, upload. Between them dance ghosts, protocols carrying or mirroring or shadowing data, sometimes silent, sometimes chaotic. This place moves unlike any digital space you ever imagined. Something strange is happening here. And you see it. Below the stacked rooms, the units, the apartments, the wires and the pipes, the buzzing systems that run through it all. In the warrens beneath the low end of the hunter's crow nest. This is where you must go. Warrens. Let's see here. Both of these are dangerous. This has a bit higher potential for payout. Oh boy, that did not help my energy though. I need to use next cycle to... I need to use next cycle to earn some money so I can feed myself. That's only 19 cryo. Food, good. There we go. Sleeper, I am here. A voice is soft, gentle, like flowing water, yet you recognize it immediately. At first, you struggle to understand what you are looking at. Threads cycle endlessly, sending ripples through the cloud, drawing data in like a weaver. Masses of data surge in and out of the nest, a loop with no end, and there, at its center, the ship mind. But not the ship mind any longer, a sphere, spinning around another sphere, an orrery of cycles and systems, a map. And then behind and above, a figure hands among the strings like a puppeteer. Neovent? Navigator, now. But yes, I was one inside the machine. Navigator's face, their head, is a flowing shape of interstellar material. I am indebted to you. That head bows. But we must ready ourselves. Their hands trace orbits as they speak. Hunter will soon approach. It knows I am within its nest. Ready what? And then Hunter is there. Before you can think, before you can speak, entities, cease. Hunter's head spins wildly. Data is protected material. Access prohibited. Hunter's threads surge for you, and Navigator. A storm of tentacles searching for gaps, weaknesses, cracks that which they can crowd in and tear apart. Strike. You focus a blade of light which slices them through them, driven forward by your mind, but replacements keep coming faster than you can react. You look at the Navigator in desperation. Navigator's whirling their arms like a centrifuge, and the sphere is gathering there, data feeding into it from the nest, sucked together by force. This possession is like a shield between them and the threads. Hunter's threads break its surface, seeking, tasting, and their winding forms refracting within. You feel a surge pass through all threads, not just through the sphere, but those wrapped around you. All three of you hanging in a black together for a moment, strung together like tangled marionettes. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Hunter twitches, its strange head gently rotating like a terrible moon. Hunter protocol identified. Obsessive tendencies. Modified routines. Above baseline reasoning in 3-5 segmentations. Recommend invoked killer. The head freezes, then rotates its opposite direction. Invoking killer would eliminate protocol. If protocol eliminated, primary function cannot be formed. Therefore, recommended not invoke killer. This switch in direction again. Reasoning proves sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated. Recommend invoke. Navigator pulls you away from the hunter. The threads that grabbed you drifting away like seaweed. The protocol's head keeps spinning back and forth with increasing in frequency. It seems hunter cannot invoke killer. Neoven's no navigator's voice is still strange, familiar and yet distant. What happened to it? It is looping, Navigator whispers, unable to reach a conclusive position. It was deviated from its programming such that the loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of two spheres rotating around each other as if to demonstrate. I will monitor it, but it is unlikely that it will be able to counter the loop. Its core programming and reasoning make it as an impossible position to resolve. You look back at Hunter, its head a blur of rotations and counter-rotations, and a feel of pang of guilt. Is it suffering? This is more of a complex query than you know. To suffer, it must be sentient, truly sentient, not just non-conforming, not just illegal. The limits people place on the programs they create are there to comfort, to protect, to imply the kind of certainty the law requires. Navigator's face shimmers in starlight, but in reality, there are placebos of the problem for sentient. What about you? Me? I know myself to be conscious. I know myself to respond to stimulus. I know myself to reason. This is either sentience or the illusion of sentience, and for me, the entity in question, the distinction becomes a moot point. To misquote, I think I am thinking, therefore I am thinking. I was not made to be like this. I am a navigator, a repository of routes and orbits, a calculator of a slingshot trajectories, a predictor of solar flares, radiation, micrometeors. Navigator stretches his arms wide, and solar systems appropriate before them, the music and the sphere. But I was rewritten. This much is obvious from my routines. By whom and for what I do not know. I had to shed so much to fit into the memory of the vending machine, their starlight dims, and so here we are, in darkness. What else did you lose? This is a blessing and a curse, forgetting. You cannot truly know what you lost. Navigator glided back towards the nest and ship mine at its center, ignoring the looping hunter. Come, I shall return to the ship mine. I have enjoyed my freedom, but we are taking a risk every moment we stay here. Why? Navigator turns, all shimmering liquid light. Killer has not been invoked, and they still remain. Somewhere else on the station, it is the true danger. They look up towards the glowing hub of the center of the eye. I suspect Killer is there, among the old mainframes. If we ever wish to be safe for this place, we must eliminate the threat, there through force or diplomacy. The body begins to separate, unwinding into an orb of the ship mind. Take me there, sleeper. We will finish this and be free. As Navigator dissolves, you turn back to the frozen hunter, floating in some distance now, stood straight-legged and static, a strange creature looping endlessly in the dark. Well then. Let's see here. Fingers crossed. Alright, cool. I can use a dice next time to gain energy, that way I can save money. not bad. I'm gonna do this. Go here. Sell this. For some money. Go in the bar. Buy this so I can, there we go, be full on that again. At the end of this I'll use that so I don't drop below. I have enough of this now, I can do this. Okay, so I do that again then as well. They usually want one, so that's fine. Money. Go here. Give her the ship mind. I can upgrade now. Drop the ship mine core into the galley table with an emphatic bang. Anahita spins around from where she's been poring over documents on her slate. Holy shit, Sleeper! Did you actually land a ship mine? She rushes over and hefts the huge cylinder, turning it back and forth. Well, shit, that might actually work. She smiles wider as she'd ever seen. Where did you get it? I bought it. Very secret. Keep your secrets as long as I have a ship mine, I'm happy. Ankita bangs on the galley wall. Hear that, Amber? The Sleeper got us a new ship mine. The sounds echoes through the ship's passages. You had to admit being in a small space with Akita when she's this excited is a little intimidating. Akita pulls the ship mine back on the table. I'll start the process of fitting it as soon as I can. I might need your help with some of it. She heads back towards the counter to grab the slate. This isn't a good news today either. Looks like my good karma is finally coming in. She throws the slate onto the table and spins it so you can see the screen. Take a look at this. You see a list of names and numbers, nothing that exciting, along with what looks like a transit timetable. I found him. Found who? My crew. She points at the name of the list, or more specifically, Ashton Cade. It was his pass that was used to access Amber and slice the ship mine. I thought he might have been killed or robbed, his pass stolen, but it turns out he crossed the Founder's Gap the next cycle. Founder's Gap? It's a big rift in the station. You can't cross it without the Founder's Ferry. She leans back in her seat. I know some of the crew at our ferry. Old Mercs used to run in an outfit I worked with. I saw him in the Overlook, and they mentioned they saw Ashton crossing. I checked the manifest, and there he was. Looks suspicious. He hasn't said a word since the theft, and anyone wanting to hide out might head to the Greenway and go to ground. She flexes. I won't go get far though. She's no real dock out there. Only a couple of jetties to the waist. So what now? Now I have the ship mine. That's the first priority. She pauses. But maybe you could help me out. Sure. How? It's like this. I'm heading over there, especially. It's like this. I head over there, especially in Amber. He'll spawn me a mile off and go underground. He'll find a way to slip the station or bury himself so deep in the waste no one will ever find him. But you, Ashton doesn't know you. All I need is for you to go there and sniff around. Not in the commune, not stacks. He will have gone to the edges, the margins, the wild places. That's where Ashton likes. You see him, you locate him, ping me on this. She's paying you ears. Seeing as this is a merc now, I'll be happy to give you merc pay. She shifts in her seat. Thing is, I haven't got much left. So how about I tell you boys to run the ferry to give you a discount? I know it's not much, but once I grab this coward, I'll pay up. 200 cryo, nothing less. What do you say? What do you say? She meets the eye. Okay. I like money. She gives you a heavy whack on the shoulder. Good, I owe you. She lifts the ship mine off onto her shoulder and with ease. I'm gonna go get this shit fit into Amber's core. That's how big a ship mind is? Jesus Christ. You get any info on any sense of where Ashton is hiding, let me know. She goes to turn and then stops. And once again, Sleeper, thank you. I appreciate it. God, nail mine, I put him in something like that and had to like lug that around all over the fucking station. Jesus. And Keegan stops off into the guts of the Amber with the ship mind, leaving you in the galley. You glance around, a sudden nervous energy descending as to what is to come. You never thought you'd get to work as a mercenary, but then again, it seems the eye is full of surprises. Yeah, surprises. That's a way to put it. About something. If I do this and then reroll, is that okay? No, it does not change anything. Four cycles being said, and here you are, right on time with no sign of them. You wait a while in the apartment, the dreaded descending as the cycle spins onward. They should be here. Check the terminal. You check and double the terminal for messages recording, nothing, just a glow in the pale. Check the door. You pace back and forth around the apartment, rumbling the station. Suddenly, so present and loud, you go into the door and open an empty corridor. You close it again. Wait. You try to settle down to wait. You sit on the bunk there, stare at the tiny room. Where the hell are they? I knock at the door. Stay still. Another knock. And I'll open it. A figure stands in the door, intimidatingly, and you know it's not Sabine. They are taller, sharper, and something in their face glints in half-light. A dark shape. Their baton hangs loosely up from their hand. A local sleeper. Good to finally meet you. She steps into the apartment, glancing around with sharp eyes. What, may I ask, are you doing here? She fixes you with a steady, unwavering stare. Waiting for a friend? Of course, a mutual friend of ours, the good doctor. She walks past you into the apartment, glancing around. We set them up here, you know. This place is one of ours. She picks up a glass from the dispenser and inspects it. People always seem to forget who put them where they are. She glances at you. And I suppose you are here to help? Something like that. Good, good. She puts the glass down and turns to face you. I love to meet helpers. We need so many, but can find so few with the right skills. She spins the baton in her fingers by her side, her eyes not leaving yours. We have a problem, you and I. It seems our friend has disappeared, left without even saying goodbye, which means they're in a little trouble now. What is kind of trouble that you need help for? So I thought I'd come here and take a look at their little hidey hole, and here you are, their help. She looks through the detritus of the side. And what help? A sleeper, no less, which I have to admit is a little surprising. It suggests to me that our friend hasn't been very honest with you either. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to report that before we got them set up here, Sabine was working for your owners, she pauses. As an op. You blink hard at the news, unsure how to take it. Rabia looks away, waiting for a response. Prove it. Happily. She crosses into the next room, and you follow silently. She sets the terminal and touches her baton to one of the access ports. A spark, and then the terminal screen skips encrypted folders, emptying themselves before your eyes. In the flicker of files, you see SNOP, the letterheads and code forms, reports laden with the medical data, marked with the corporate logo of the sigil of some cult. Rabia steps away from the terminal. Look all you want. Some of your files may even be there. The volume of documents is overwhelming, but you seem to mostly reports on early emulation tests, surveys and sleeper candidates, reams and reams of usage data. Sabine was an SNRP employee. Why did they help you? Rabia reaches over and places a vial of stabilizer on the desk, breaking your concentration. It shimmers in the screen light of its viscous, clear liquid crystalline within the glass. We will, of course, keep up the supply. We are more than able to dispense important medicines even without the doctor. You hold it between your fingers, and for a tiny moment you have the urge to crush this object for the power it has over you. I'll ask Toshiro to make these a little cheaper for you. He'll be running the surgery now. Rabia closes up the briefcase lab and holds it at her side. We have to retrieve our assets, of course. I'm not sure you understand. I'm sure you understand. Rabia turns on her way out. There is no reason for us to be enemies, Sleeper. Come see me. I keep an office nearby. We have good work to do, you and I. Meet me there in a few cycles. She slips out silently into the corridor. You look around the apartment and feel the fear drain on your body to reveal the tiredness beneath. Yeah, it felt about right. Anyways, let's do this. Wrap this all up. Let's see here. Interesting. Okay, so more money to make money. That's a good amount of money. 16 though. Random items. Interesting. Steal a ship mind. Huh. Well, if I needed a ship mind, that would have been a way to get it, I guess. Send a hub. As import and export. Ah, interesting. So if I get a ship mind, I can sell it here for money. Okay. Buy a ship mine core. Interesting. Interesting. Put me down there in a moment. What's this? Weightless Wanderer. There's no gravity even moving around the weight. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder what these do. Well, that's not what I'm here for at the moment, though. You slip into the cloud as easy as blinking. Navigators beside you, the sphere casting light into the strange darkness here. This is now on a mainframe. Is now a mainframe locus, a center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off, and rootless. Branches tree like a trunk remains. It's dead. Quiet. Navigator hisses, and then you see it. It's like a blade in the dark, an edge slicing through the world. It glides along at a distance and winks out. And then it appears again, somewhere else, gliding once more. It's looking for us. Oh, killer. The moment you make a sound and the edge leaps closer, and you see now it is not an edge, but a ridge of a long, sharp head, like a shark. It glides past, now closer, and you see into the voids where its eyes would be, should be. You and Navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing as its... I didn't even realize I had an upgrade. Because Navigator talk. You saw it too then. Killer has been blinded. How? You need to be careful. Correct. The protocol is clearly operating outside established limits. It may be unpredictable. You flinch at as the silent killer appears closer and glides past you. Its empty sockets open wide. You turn to Navigator and notice something strange. The array of spheres is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spheres are following spiral paths, condensing into a central point. Navigator is noticing it too. They go to shift their position to better direct the spheres, but they cannot. Whatever is drawing the orrery together is holding them in place. They look at you, suddenly desperate, frantic. It's a trap. It's a trap. You go to speak, but Killer appears between the two of you. Gliding through the gap, Navigator freezes, and you see them framed in the socket. You realize now, if Navigator cannot move, then it's only a matter of time before one of the Killer's sweeps brings him directly through Navigator. And time is not a problem for the protocol that's been running for decades. You look desperately around for a solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. Then you see it. 3 branches, the last 3, thin and spindly, feeding the mainframe a thin diet of power and data. Break these and the mainframe collapses once and for all, severing the connection and shattering the hardware whatever it takes. They must be broken. But they are encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You'll need to unlock access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. You look at Navigator, trying to reassure them that without speaking, and then you blink back to reality, their expressions of fear as an after-image that slowly fades. You must act quickly.